vacillates a bit. So there's the possibility that she might want to join in, and then maybe not. We will see. But it's I'm right now one of the den leaders for the Weebelows den, the first year Weebelows.
Okay, let's see. Pat, you want to go next?
Sure. Good evening. Hi, Pat Gardner. I'm actually the grandparent of two of the boys in second grade who were Tigers last year.
Maybe you just want to go a little closer to the phone. Sorry, Pat.
Sure. Hi, Pat Gardner. I'm the grandparent of two now second grade boys. Two boys of a set of triplets. Had three daughters that obviously were in Girl Scouts and not Boy Scouts. So it was nice to get reconnected with Boy Scouts. The boy's dad is working at night, so it was a great opportunity for me to be able to get re-engaged with Scouts and have a great time with the boys. And I'll be speaking to you a little bit later about our experience in Tigers and what would you like to do?
Okay. Mr. James Bond, also known as Brian.
Yeah. My name is Brian Zolski. I'm the father of a third grader, Leo Zolski, and we joined Boy Scouts, or I should say Cub Scouts, back when he was a Tiger, and I took over quartermaster, and this year I'm also doing treasurer.
Okay. All right. So the first thing on our agenda is just talking about what are some of the fun stuff that our PAC does. It's geared more towards the kids. John does a good job of it. So John, just let me know when you want me to advance. Can you guys see the slides?
I can see them perfectly. Everyone else can see them okay?
Awesome.
Okay, so this is the introductory slide. Again, I'm Jonathan Gooley. If you have questions, please raise your hand. We have a wonderful year, which might be a little bit different in the shadow of COVID. But we usually start off this year with a big PAC bonfire ceremony in the fall, in which we go over to Hawthorne Glen. The kids, as you can see, make s'mores. But really, it is the beginning of, and kind of sets the tone for the whole year of kind of adventure with celebration in each of the different den levels. So it's something actually I really look forward to every year as a parent. Next slide, please. So as we will be talking about, I think a little bit later in this, the next part of the meeting, we have a popcorn celebration. Oh, I call it a celebration. No, so a popcorn kickoff, and they have the Cub Scout equivalent of the Girl Scout cookies. But I think that the opportunity is better because we sell coffee, and for every parent, this is going to be a huge deal. Nice thing about this is in the past we were able to partner. As you can see, this is Metcalf Century, and in the past we would go to them, and hopefully we'll be able to do that in the future, as we will talk about later. It's going to be a little different this year, so we will get to that. Next slide, please. So the Scouts work to really Scouts work, I think, to do a lot of fun projects, and we have a couple of different cooperative engagements in which they build various crafts. So here's a picture of the Rain Gutter Regatta, and later we'll have a picture of the Pinewood Derby. And in this, they design a boat or a car, and then they work to craft them and have them, in this case, blow them across some gutters. So it's called the Rain Gutter Regatta for a purpose or for a reason. And it's the kids are a lot of fun. I think we will talk more about this as it approaches. And I'm trying to remember, Ben, if this is on the agenda at some point this year, if this is going to potentially be held off, because blowing COVID through straws might be frowned upon on the greater district and even national level. So we'll see.
So we do have some other ideas, but this one isn't going to happen until late in spring. So we've had some ideas, like maybe we should get some bellows, or we'll do rocket launching or something else. So
first time voting for the rocket launching, but that's just
yeah.
All right. So the next several slides, I think, really highlight what we do for fun and activities that allow kids to explore and to learn and to, in this case, be very physically active. So in various years in the past, we've alternated between several different opportunities. So this one is going to Eagle Cave out west of Madison. And what was amazing about it is the fact that the scouts, along with other scouts and other groups, are able to kind of go through and explore the caves and adventure in a way of that I think they give a sense of independence and a sense of self-resourcefulness too. So this is one of the adventures. I think the next slide will have another one as well. Oh, more cave camping. So yeah, so there's an opportunity to sleep in the cave during the cave camping. It's not just kids running around the cave, but you actually take sleeping bags and air mattresses, as you can see, into the cave. And I will say that last year when we did this, we had a prime camping spot in a very dry part of the cave. I don't think there was any dripping water. It was flat and it was cool. So I think that Ben discovered the secret best spot. So this is pretty awesome. So cave camping, we're going to be camping in caves in the next several years. We'll get back to more of the activities, but here's a den. So, you know, each den is comprised of similar grade children. So they're usually the same age, but it's actually grouped by grade level. And so during this year, they have various required, we call them adventure loops. And so they are these belt loops that they earn. And then there are some elective ones as well. And you're expected to do one elective per year. And this is an example of one of the activities that was an interpretation for how to do one of the adventures. So they're going out and learning how to rub stuff, leaves and whatnot. All right, so I said other activities. So 2 years ago, we went on the submarine overnight. And this was a huge hit for a lot of our scouts and other scouts. And so it's up, I believe, in Manitowoc area. And the kids were able to go explore the submarine. They were sleeping in the bunks. And it was, I think, an education for everybody that you learn what it's like to be on a real sub. I mean, granted, this one's decommissioned. And you learn things like, you know, sound actually reverberates from a hard-lined thing in the ocean. So, you know, it's allowed, I think, a lot of our scouts and a lot of the parents to appreciate what life is like for those that have, you know, different lives than we might experience otherwise or haven't experienced yet. So more pictures of this. So there's an education component, and then I believe those are those torpedoes there, Ben?
Yes, I do believe they were. Yeah.
All right.
And
so to my knowledge, there were no actual torpedoes launched during the overnight, but rumors might persist otherwise. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think one of the most interesting things is people used to sleep above the torpedoes. As you can see, here's a bed up above the torpedo, and this is just the tip of it. Like they were pretty long. It was pretty amazing.
And then also, I think this was last year, within the last year or so, we went up to Lambeau Field. And so there was a really great opportunity that we went, we explored it. We took a nice evening hike throughout all of Lambeau. They allowed us to go down. We couldn't touch the grass. That was strictly forbidden. Though I will say maybe somebody might have touched a single blade. I'm not going to say who. But we stayed up there. We slept over, and there was a scavenger hunt that kind of went through the history of the Packers within the museum portion of it. So it was a really great thing. And my son's here just pointing out, like, hey, look at that. And again, I think the memories that get created are phenomenal because I mean, as he's looking at this right now off to my side, he's pointing things that were really awesome to him.
I see me.
Okay, modesty too. So again, we have the various dens have activities in which they are learning about stuff. And within each year, there's oftentimes a repetition of themes. So, you know, one of them is usually something to the effect of service to your country or learning about community and service to your community. And so here's an example of how our Cub Scouts are going to learn about our community and how people who serve them, you know, what they do and how they do it. And so it's really, you know, and it's fun when you get to actually be on the rescue trucks, or if you go to the fire department, you get to you know, go inside an ambulance and see what that's like. So in the winter time, we also try to maintain our outdoor activity and fitness. And so we do pack meetings. And so there's usually a tubing pack meeting at some point, and we go down to, I'm blanking on the name.
The Rock.
The Rock, thank you.
Yeah.
And see, I have great help here. But we go down to the Rock and we go tubing and learn about cooperation and the speed of low friction. As you can notice, you know, here we are going to a Wave soccer game, and I think in the past you'll see some other pictures. But we've gone to Brewer games, Wave games. We went to a Bucks game a couple years ago, and so usually we try once a year to. Oh, we've gone to the Admirals game too. So once a year we try to go to a sports event as a pack, and then they let you get dressed up. And if you're in uniform, there's usually an opportunity to go onto the field or participate before the game or after the game. Last year, I think we went to the Wave, and there was an opportunity to be on the field afterwards and watch a movie. In previous years, they've also allowed camping overnight. So here's yeah.
Oops, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, here's an example of the Admirals hockey. It looks cold. In the winter time, you know, we try to come up with fun things to do. So as you can see, there's a picture of me on a ladder looking so debonair. And what the kids have done in that case was they developed a egg, and when they were given packaging and they're expected to figure out how to cushion it so it gets dropped. And there's a competition to see who can design a egg holder that resists breaking, or that kind of resists the breakage of the egg when we drop it from various heights. In other years, we've had them try to build the tallest tower out of spaghetti. And again, all of these things are oftentimes, it's a team-based approach. And usually we've had it not just be den oriented, but we have representatives from each of the dens going up to the 5th graders participating in every team, so that it doesn't really feel slanted with the older Cub Scouts really dominating the youngers. It's actually more of a cooperative and a mentorship. Skit night. So there's one of the activities for the Wolves, or sorry, the Bears in this case, looking at the neckerchiefs. That helps how we are able to identify which den it is. They have a unifying neckerchief. So blue is Bears. And there's an opportunity for them to perform skits. And so in the tradition of Cub Scouts oftentimes being a very outdoor activity based, there's oftentimes a lot of emphasis placed on skits in front of campfires, and yeah, entertainment, I think, before we had video games and television. In February is a really special time in which we have a crossover. So the 5th graders who have been working on their Arrow of Light, which is the last and highest rank that you can get in Cub Scouts, are crossing over towards the Boy Scout. And we partner with the Boy Scout pack in the area. However, I think part of what they're expected to do during the Webelow years is to go visit a Boy Scout pack or two. And excuse me, I'm still not used to the renaming. So a Scouts BSA pack, because it's now inclusive of young women. As you can see, we have added co-ed pack in this past several years. And I think it's one of the great things that I'm really proud of Scouts at this point for actually being co-ed. But you have the opportunity to go and explore various troops in the area, selecting one. Again, I think funnel into Troop 21. And the blue and gold ceremony is kind of the celebration of that. And in the past, we've had like a dinner, and it's our way and the Scouts' way of saying thank you to the parents for helping support them through all of this journey. So, no Scout is going to be really good unless they know how to wrap all sorts of bandages like a good EMS. So, although I can't say that at the end of your Webelos training, you're going to be able to be certified by the county to be an EMS or a firefighter, you might get some skills along the way that might help you that way eventually. we talked about kind of going in each year. There's a visit and something based on community. Here's an example of scouts going to the firehouse and sitting inside of an ambulance and seeing what that feels like and how small it is. So at the beginning, we talked about the Rain Gutter Regatta, and this is kind of the capstone that we traditionally do in the spring. I think we might be flipping it around given the COVID magic. But, each scout is given a box, and in that box is a piece of like a square block of wood, 4 nails and 4 wheels. And they design and carve and paint their own Pinewood Derby. So it's a great experience. The kids love it. And then we have another pack that owns these fantastic Pinewood Derby slides, and they race them. And it's really pretty awesome to, the kids get really excited, parents cheer it on. I'm really happy there are people that are really good at brackets. That is not me and my skill set. And so we have parents that really kind of, make it real and keep track of it so we can identify who might win not only the race, but the best design for each den level. And then in olden times, so I think before 2015, there was a mandatory requirement for something called the Bear Carnival. So at the end of the year, the Bears would host a carnival-like thing. It's become a tradition now. It's considered an elective, so they don't have to do it. But we still can carry on, and they still design this, and it's a way that they can kind of create games and interact and kind of run the show. Just because I'm getting whispered to, and I don't want there to be whispering, I just would like to say that we were not able to do this past May, unfortunately, by this former bear, because of the change of schooling and how we provided school. So Brewers game, we go, and what's kind of cool is you get a walk on the field. In the summertime, we've, as a pack, have traditionally gone camping, and we've gone to the 2 reservations that are owned by our 3 Harpers Council. This one is for the IMR, the other is O Dakota. And it's great. I mean, you get to go there. There's activities that are planned out by the BSA. There's fishing. They get to learn BB gun safety, archery safety, and having opportunities with, of course, parents' permission to try these activities. And it's we're talking about campfires and campfire skits, and then we get to see the leaders of the scouts, who are actually oftentimes graduated Boy Scouts and venturers, go in and show and demonstrate kind of like what does a successful scout skit look like, and how does it all work. It's really, I really look forward to it, except for when it's 108 degrees. That's not really fun camping. But so that's our pack. I think we have a great time. We do a lot of really fun things, and thank you for your attention.
Thanks, John. That was great.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit here why Cub Scouts is a great organization. So this is more geared towards the parents. So we'll just quickly go over this because I think John talked about a lot of the great things already. So Scouts really focuses a lot on character development. So there's a lot of things that they have to do together as a team. Every meeting we go over the Pledge of Allegiance and the Scout Oath, and then also the Scout Law. And there are many requirements around each one of these so that they understand the importance of why this is our law. So the other thing that I kind of like to talk with new parents about is when you become a parent, they don't really give you a parenting guidebook or a parenting checklist. So sometimes I feel like, you got all these things that you want to, make sure you teach your child before they become adults. And I feel like the scouting program is pretty close to a lot of the basic things that just need to get checked off. So some of the common themes that you'll see if you stay in, for many years is respecting nature, a lot of safety stuff such as first aid, but also they go into internet use safety, fire safety, knives, you get to do crafts with your child, which it's been a lot of fun. Like my boys really look forward to every year making their Pinewood Derby or their rain gutter regatta boat. And it's just a fun thing to do together. They focus on basic survival skills, such as making sure, you know, the kids learn how to go camping, set up a tent, build a fire, how to make, you know, basic meals, hiking. And they also build a lot of social skills. So such as the games and the competitions and the skits, and so even selling popcorn, because that one, you know, requires you to usually go out and talk to people that you haven't met before, and you know, work on your persuasion skills, which is good for any career really in the future. So we do a lot of service projects. So our main ones, which we will be actually, I think we can still do a lot of these because I just got an email, I forgot. So our main ones were cleaning up the Wilson W. STEM schoolyard, but we still have that outdoor classroom. So some parents are organizing still meet up to work on that area and weed it and get rid of thorn, those trees that are invasive. I can't think of the name right now. Sorry.
Buckthorn.
Yeah, thank you, buckthorn. So we've already made like a big dent on that buckthorn population down there. It looks a lot better. And then the last thing, the Scout program is reverent in that they don't care what religion you are, but they just, they care that you basically tell and talk to your, you know, child about your religious beliefs. So here for this pack, all of the reverend stuff is done in the home by the parents so that they can, it's a very personal belief and a very personal choice. So we don't want to force one religion on families. So Cub Scouts is very family oriented. So a lot of other organizations, only the one kid who's in the organization can partake, but we are in normal times very inclusive. So like all the pack meetings, family can come, camping events, sporting events. And so it's really nice because it's something you can do as a family, and it carves out time, which I think is really important because as a society, I feel like we're more and more busy all the time. And it's really easy just to like miss your children growing up, and you can always work more and all this stuff. So being part of the Scout program, just make sure that you carve out that time. So we like actually program a lot of fun things to do. So it makes it really easy to be involved parent and have a lot of fun too. And I think the really awesome thing about the Scouting program is a lot of people realize the value of it. So we get to do extra things that you would not be able to do if you weren't part of the Scouting organization, such as the submarine and spending the night on the wave field after the game and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Like we got to spend the night in the Milwaukee Public Museum and go on like a flashlight tour. Like you can't do that stuff as just a normal person in our area. So this is just letting you know that the reason that our pack is so great and that we have such a awesome and active pack is that we have a lot of very involved parents. So we have a whole group of very awesome leaders for each age level, and people like Brian and myself who assist at the whole pack level. So basically, you know, it's very important that we keep that volunteering, keep going. So, and it's very easy to do, and Pat's actually going to talk about it. He was a new leader from last year. So these are just some of the open positions right now. And then for every den, you need at least 2 leaders because as youth protection training, no child in the pack can be left alone with one adult. So we always have 2 deep leader adults at all time, just to make sure that none of the mistakes of the past happen ever going forward. And just letting you know, tigers and lions, there always has to be an adult chaperone at every meeting. So, and that's just because they're so young. We just want to make sure someone's always looking out for them all the time. So.
Sure.
Once they're out of the first grade, then they can be dropped off at meetings if 2 adults are present. But we just ask that you be back 20 minutes prior to the end of the meeting, so that the volunteers aren't, sitting there waiting for you, basically. For the cost, there is an initial registration fee. It is $66 this year per year, but since the registration year goes from January to December, so you would pay a prorated price for the rest of this year, and then in the beginning of the year, then you would pay that fee again, but that goes all the way around for another year. So there is an optional Boys Life magazine, which my kids really love a lot. It helps them to get excited about reading, and they have a lot of really fun ideas for them, or just stories for them to learn about. They usually revolve around the scouting theme. There's a Den handbook and a one-time fee for the shirt, which you see some kids in the video wear, and a belt, because they get these loops every time they finish a requirement, which goes right on the belt. You don't need the belt, but I find that if people don't buy the belt, they usually end up losing those loops. So you don't need the pants, the hat, the neckerchief, or the slide. The neckerchief and slide we provide to you at the bonfire, and then all the events for the scout themselves are paid for from popcorn sales. So parents and other family members will have to pay, but usually we get a lower rate from these events because we're part of the Scouts.
So again, my name is Pat Gardner. I was a first-time leader last year when we sat through this meeting at Wilson last fall. As soon as the boys heard about the camping opportunity, they were sold and wanted to join immediately, and really had a great year. John and Ben both did a really great job of walking through the pack itself, and the pack meetings are essentially one day out of the month, our Thursday evenings usually, and the Den meetings are generally, it's up to the Den leaders, but generally one meeting a month as well. And for us, we alternated Thursday nights with the pack meetings, but really had a great year. The boys had a fantastic time doing the camping, really embraced as much of the events as we could. The pack actually had an outing March 15th, just about the last possible day you could have it before the COVID shutdown, with some pizza and laser tag and go-karting that the boys had a great time in as well. The handbook that Ben had a little picture of is here. There's a handbook for every year, and that really has everything you need to know for the scout and for the leader. There's a leader handbook that goes along with this, but we were fortunate enough last year that we had about a dozen boys in the pack, and we had 4 parents essentially willing to be leaders. As Ben mentioned, it's a little bit easier for the Tiger year because there's a parent or a guardian with each one of the scouts at every meeting. But having 4 people was really fantastic. There's 6 required elements for the badge for the year. So essentially a minimum of 6 meetings, and a 7th as 1 elective. And Ben kind of showed you walking through the subject matter for them, but particularly given the times we're living in, they're really great. I mean, they're how to be a good citizen, how to be a good person, how to be kind to other people, and really just some great subjects. For the Tigers, there's an element of just some food basics and healthy eating as well. So some really great opportunities. For Wilson STEM, it was nice for the boys as well, just to get a chance to spend time with other boys from their grade that might not be in their half of the school, so to speak. And at the pack meetings, there really are opportunities for them to hang around with some older boys and get a little experience with older children. From a leader standpoint, with 4 of us, we really divided it up and had essentially 1 or 2 meetings apiece to run. So the more parents that are involved, the better. The greater sense of ownership really makes it very easy for the leaders who are involved. And I can say that using the Scout handbook that comes along with each level, really it's not a difficult task to plan a meeting. Everything you need is there for you in a leader handbook. Really kind of walks you through the exercises, the background there, and even gives you opportunities to really craft entire meeting. For many of them, they can be divided up each particular event into more than one meeting if the pack desired, but we certainly did them as one and got everything completed in one. But there's many activities to pick from in the leader handbook to kind of craft together a single den meeting. So it really was a very easy thing to do for the year, particularly having 4 of us. We got together and met as leaders essentially maybe for a half an hour once a month just to plan the meeting, and kind of early on in the year at our first meeting just divided up who was going to take what meeting, and really had kind of one person lead each meeting and maybe one person kind of assist, but really pretty minimal time. That's involved a couple of hours a month to really be a leader and do a good job at it. I think making the commitment to be at every meeting and be at every pack meeting really makes a huge difference. The boys really feel much more connected that way. For us, the boys, but certainly boys or girls, and really get a kind of a sense of ownership in their den and in their pack. So I'd really encourage you to definitely not only consider being a part of the pack and part of scouting, but definitely the leadership as well. As Ben mentioned, we've got a good pack, but that's only because there's involvement by parents and leaders, and the pack itself lives or dies with that commitment and leadership. So it's really nice to be able to spread that around a little bit and have as much involvement as possible. Ben runs a nice meeting once a month for leaders. It's as painless as you can get because it's at Big Head Brewery, so there's even some libations involved if that's something that you like. But really, essentially, 45 minutes to an hour meeting once a month to really plan what's happened for the pack, what's went well over the past couple meetings, and what's coming in the future. And as a new leader, it's a great opportunity to hear from established leaders and leaders who have led your level the year before, and really reach out to them for help should you need it. There's definitely great ability to get some assistance and learn from some of the people who have walked in that path before. So again, we actually got a little spiel from the scouting office last year, with really encouraged people. And I think everything that was said to us was definitely true for the year. It really was very easy to do. And again, at least at the Tiger level, it's even a little bit easier because there's definitely a parent, at least one parent or a guardian with the child at every meeting. That definitely helps. 7-year-olds are busy kids and helps just keep things running a little smoother and in order. So really had a great time for the year, a fun time. The boys definitely remember all the events that we did and still talk about many of them, and would really encourage you not only to join, but to step up for a leadership role as well.
Thanks, Pat. That was great.
I'd just like to add one thing. The packs in neighbor area here, we're one of the more active. We're really strong. We have, I think, about 50 Cub Scouts in the past years. So we're really good with that. I've heard that we're one of the top popcorn sales packs. So it's really good. And then from a parent standpoint, I remember when I was sitting in this exact meeting and hearing it from my son, Leo, I was worried that it was going to be a lot of time consumption, but it really isn't. It's literally you have one pack meeting a month and you have one den meeting pretty much a month. And the den meetings are really great. A lot of activities. I enjoy seeing them. I've learned a lot going to them as well.
Thanks, Brian. That was great.
Welcome.
Basically, I'm going to end the meeting now. If you're watching this video later and you have any questions, you can reach me. I'm at 148 Cubmaster, all one word together, @gmail.com. So, all right. Thank you. Thanks, guys.